Yo, this is Christian, and today I'm gonna teach you, or I'm gonna tell you how to learn React in 30 days. I just woke up and I'm a bit rusty, but I had this idea and I wanted to share with you the way I would do it, okay? So learning React is actually a process split into two different parts. The first part is understanding the concepts, and that usually takes 30 days. And then mastery, which takes months, if not years, okay? But I'm not gonna talk about the mastery because that's not important right now. I mean, it is important, but not for this video. So here's what I would do if I would be you and I would start learning React, and if I want to learn it properly. Well, the first thing that I want to do is I would go to the React official documentation and I would look and scan through it. I would even follow the official tutorial so you can understand why React is good. Now, if you are watching that tutorial, if you're reading that tutorial on the React website and you don't say, wow, this is so cool, then that means you're not ready for React and you should go back to your JavaScript, back to your HTML and CSS and keep playing around with that, okay? Because if you don't see why it's cool, if you don't see why it's useful, you'll never be able to pick it up, okay? That's the first thing. Then another thing that you have to keep in mind is that we are working with data, okay? So you need to be able to see data, you need to be able to look at a piece of UI, for example, a friends list on Facebook or something like that, or recommended videos on YouTube, and you should be able to see data there, okay? Like regulars, normies, they see just a picture with some text. You should be able to see an array of objects. If you cannot see that, then that means you're not ready for React. So React is not as complicated as people make it, okay? It's actually super simple, but you have to have the right approach and the right mindset when you're trying to pick it up for the first time. Now, there are three main concepts in React that you have to know: components, state, and props. And think about having a Lego car, okay? A Lego car is made from multiple Lego bricks, and then you put a bunch of bricks together and you get one piece of that car. Then you put others together and you get another piece of that car. Then you put those two pieces together, you get a bigger piece, and so on and so forth. And that's how React works with components. You have a button, let's say, and then you have another button here, and then you created a group of buttons, right? I think that's called atomic design, if I'm not mistaken. But that's an important pattern, and you should be able to see everything in components. What helped me get a very good grasp of this was CSS, actually. Which is weird, but because I was very good at CSS, I was able to group things together, and the transition towards understanding React components was very smooth for me, okay? The next two concepts that you need to understand are state. So state is basically the current configuration or settings of your application, okay? As the user interacts with your application, that state changes. If someone is sending you a message on Facebook, you'll see that the notification up there shows up, and then you have another message box coming up there at the bottom. So that's state, right? Something is happening and state changes, and your UI, your components reflect that. Then the next concept that you need to understand is props, or our props. Props is basically a way to configure our components. It's basically a way to just think of a function that you're calling with different arguments. That's pretty much it. That's what props are. It's basically, the configuration of our components. Another thing that you need to understand with React is rendering lists. Okay, that's pretty important. Rendering lists, that's a very important concept. Then another important concept that you have to be aware of is managing state, right, between components, because one component might need this state, one component might need the other state. I know this video is not very easy to watch, but these are the things that you have to understand, okay, with React. Another concept that you need to know is lifting state up, okay? What if a component has some state and you need it somewhere up in the tree? Okay, insert a tree picture here. How do you do that? You need to learn it, and you need to learn why it's useful, okay? Another concept that might be, actually not might be, but it's very useful, is understanding callbacks and passing callbacks as props. Right, so this video is very heavy probably if you've never heard of React, but I'm just giving you some pointers, obviously, because I'm not interacting with you one-on-one, you're not in my coaching program, you're just in a YouTube video, so I cannot give you that many details, because then will go on for hours and hours and hours, and we don't want to do that, okay? Now, to understand all these concepts, there are a series of applications that you have to build, okay? And you have to do some learning for each app, and then you should have some sort of challenge where you don't get the answer straight away from the person that's giving you the challenge, okay? So obviously that's what I do in my program, and that's why it works so well, because people think that they follow through, they think that they've actually learned it, but they will be tested thoroughly to make sure that they actually understood those concepts. Because if you don't understand these concepts, these very basic ones that I've just told you, you won't be able to build any React application, and you won't be able to build it in years, okay? You need to understand that all programming is a very, very simple and basic equation, okay? It's not that complicated. What's complicating is the scale of things, okay? Because if you learn how to build your to-do app and your weather app and whatever, and if you learn how to use the router, you are fine. But the problem is, what do you do after, okay? Because what you do after is gonna determine how fast are you gonna become a programmer, a paid programmer, okay? I don't think you are here to watch a video about how to be a mediocre programmer. You are here to learn how to become a fast programmer, a good programmer, and a well-paid programmer, okay? So you have to get feedback as you are building these things to make sure that you actually understood the concepts right. I was actually talking with a guy the other day, and he had 6 months of savings. And I told him, bro, all you need to do is to build this one app, the one that all my students are building. And he actually wanted to go his own way, right? So he has 6 months of savings, 6 months. And what's gonna happen? He's gonna go like this, trying to find out what works and what doesn't. Like you probably are, you know, like nothing changed in the past 2 years for him. So he kept doing this. Like it's a mess. Why not go like this? Learn this concept, then this concept, then this concept. Oh, this is hard to understand. Oh, okay, now it makes sense. Makes sense. Let's build this app. This one, this one, this one, this one, hired. You know, that's how it should work. But if you're by yourself, you need to understand this concept properly. And I would strongly recommend you to find some sort of mentor, some sort of developer that can give you feedback on this. Because if you get these things wrong, if you're using styles in your JSX, for example, that's code smell. You know, people won't even tell you that, but probably they won't hire you because you're using styles in your JSX, okay? If you don't know what that is, then you are a bit too young for this. But if you know what that is, then you'll know you have an issue. Or if you are using curly braces when you pass a string as a prop, you know? Again, not a big deal, but it's just one small detail. And we know that programming is all about the details. And the more careful you are with these details, the more money you will be making, the more perks you will be getting, okay? So that's the video for today. A bit more informational. I hope it helped you. This is kind of my approach with learning React, or with teaching React. Concept, 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 challenge. Concept, 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 challenge, and so on and so forth, until people kind of start to pick it up. Then we build a bunch of apps, and yeah, that's how it works. If you want to learn more about this stuff, there is a Facebook group. The link is in the description. And if you want to work with me directly, skip all this stuff. There is another link in the description exactly for that. So I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.